Hey, Dr. Masi Reynolds here. Before we get started, please remember that this podcast is for informational purposes only. The ideas and opinions shared here represent our own and are not meant to be taken as medical advice. Listening does not create a doctor-patient relationship, and we always recommend speaking with a qualified healthcare provider for any health-related decisions. This show is independent of our professional roles and reflects our own personal perspectives. Let's go, JD. Another round.
What's up, baby?
How you doing?
Doing pretty good.
Thanks for coming down.
We're here to talk about NAD
Dude,
here, and
I
it's
think
been a fun journey with NAD.
Yeah.
recently.
recently, I think I had to really experience it for myself to be able to sit down here and talk about it. Been recommending it and talking about it, but I think the journey is that much
It
better.
was wild.
It was wild, yeah.
For those who don't really know what NAD is, we'll talk about what it is, what its uses are for, maybe the different types.
It's a hot topic right now.
Yeah,
And I love that.
I think it's still one of the topics everyone's trying to gain information.
Yeah. I think Craig Conover going on Huberman's podcast, he talked a lot about it. And I think he even said something along the lines, if there was one thing that people should be doing from a nutritional standpoint, whether it be IV or injections, in supplementations, he says NAD is up there. And we'll talk, I think let's talk about the reality of that actually happening, right?
Yeah,
Like getting it done in the different forms. But and not just him, you hear it all the time. Gary Brecka, and a bunch of other people talking about.
Yeah, Huberman
NAD.
talks about it. I think the guys like Atia, we kind of mentioned these guys because that's, I think, what a lot of people go to, or at least a lot of the patients come in. Hey, did you hear what so-and-so said? I think guys like Atia aren't really all for it, but some people.
I haven't heard his opinion on it. What was it?
Yeah, I think he says, I don't do it. And you hear him say things like hedging your bet. He's not hedging his bet with NAD being something that's going to actually allow him to have longevity or lifespan. He talks about lifespan. And maybe he just doesn't believe, in the telomere lengthening and the sirtuin, process and all that.
So he's not so much interested in how he feels on it, but more so how is this going to contribute to
I think,
long
I think
game,
he's more, and maybe also in his age group too, even though NAD can be brought in. We'll back up a little bit and discuss, specifically what it is, but NAD as a supplement, I think he feels that things like maybe rapamycin and those other things that change mTOR, that has a greater difference on the impact of health rather than something that, I don't know, just mitochondrial support. That's actually, it's.
Is he more interested? Yeah, he's more interested in seeing objective changes through telomere lengthening, but also.
That's just what I can recall from
no, it's okay. So I don't mean to hold you to it. I haven't heard his opinion on it.
I remember him being very different than the Hubermans and some of the other people. And I think it's not I think Huberman gets a lot of good information out there. It's not necessarily just because he does something or doesn't do something, it's good or it's bad, but there's some good people out there that talk about it and probably go into more granular, in-depth conversation about NAD, which today we're just going to talk about, like, hey, is this something you should still be interested in?
Nicotinamide Adenine Dinucleotide. So that just gives me anxiety even thinking about it. It's funny. I was going through all my long pre-med classes, obviously, all that stuff, and then learning the electron transport chain. And thinking,
how does that make you feel ting back to Krebs cycle?
Oh my gosh. I remember thinking, like, why am I learning this? I'm never going to have to use this again. And now here we are talking about the electron transport chain.
Yeah. No,
and that's not the detail. We're not going to go through details of that's not about this, but we're involved in the real world application of NAD, and obviously in our own optimization journeys have found it to be a useful tool. And recently undergoing a pretty good little protocol on myself, and then you and I being able to bounce things off each other, thought that this would be a killer opportunity to just talk a lot about it and what it is, and maybe clarify some things for some patients with regards to who's it for, why would you even do it, and what are the different modes of delivery for it, right? Because I sent this to you before.
That's huge.
We have an idea of how to deliver and how patients should want to, but at the same time, practicality of getting an IV every such and such, time is not always realistic. And I know I'm bouncing around a little bit, but those are all real things, right? It's like, just because something's great, what's the reality of you actually being able to do that every single day.
Those are
or
the
every
biggest
week.
questions.
Yeah.
That's the most common question we get in clinic is, okay, how can I take it? We also want to discuss nucleotide riboside and NMN. You've
NMN.
also taken
precursors.
yourself.
Yeah, precursors.
I don't have much experience with that.
Yeah.
And I anecdotally I use what patients share with me, and I've read, and there's research on both sides that kind of support it and then kind of knock it off. So,
well, I'd say
tell me
since the title of this is NAD, not NMN, then you probably know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I have. I've tried all the different types.
How long did you do it for?
Oh man, months.
Okay.
Yeah. Months.
Because for those of you out there,
yeah,
placebo is real.
Yeah.
Not saying it's placebo just because I don't do it, or maybe I'm not a fan of giving it a go like you did, but placebo is real. And if you're taking something that it does make you feel better after that 6 or 9 months, I don't know, keep taking it. I'm not going to wish you wrong and say it's not working, like just to tell you it's not working because I read a research paper or it's not the best form. Maybe I should try it and see, personally how I felt. But like after talking with you and some of my other colleagues and patients sharing with me, it just doesn't seem like it's worth the spending, whatever. I'd rather just put it into an injection and inject it.
And we all have different measuring sticks. Like what is it that we're using to kind of tell us whether or not something is working one way or the other, and whether it's someone who's really objective based and wants to look at the data and wants to look at the telomere length and wants to do all that stuff. Yeah, that's great. I'm kind of more interested in how am I showing up, and how do I feel, and what I will tell you just without debate, without argument, is that there's a significant difference in NAD than NMN.
So hold on, stop right there.
So I don't even know if NMN was working, but I know without a doubt NAD made some significant
for 2 seconds,
difference.
let's sit here.
Yeah.
How do you describe your experience just with and we can talk about, there's real quick IV, obviously.
Yeah, that's
it's gonna get in you. That's a wild roller coaster. We'll go over that. Injection, which we'll probably favor out of this whole conversation, is probably the easiest route, most enjoyable, less of a roller coaster than the IV. So taking an injection. What do you I like how you breathe like that. That sounds like me after I have
an injection.
But you're a little different than I.
I don't get the same response you do with the injection, like the flushing and right afterwards and the redness. But we'll talk about the IV because that's a whole different story. But I'd say after an injection, usually 100 milligrams or so.
Yeah, 50 to 100 milligrams. I mean, you can go a little more, but it's going to be less tolerable. Other symptoms like nausea and stuff is going to be a problem. But
Intermuscular, I think the cocktail that we've liked as of recent is mixing a little bit lidocaine, takes the bite. Takes the bite off the injection itself.
Definitely try that if you're going to go sub-Q, because I feel like it burns. Sub-Q. So I am like, people don't have problems with it. It's getting in your bloodstream faster, but go ahead. Sorry.
And then I've had it also with the vitamin B, that B12 that you've put in there too as well, which is really good. And
makes it look pretty.
It makes it look pretty. It makes it look like you got something special, a little pinky, like red. But I'd say within minutes after an NAD, like intramuscular injections, it's like the lights were at maybe like a dim 3-4, and all of a sudden, the clarity. Yeah,
it's like you got to the
but like a peaceful clarity, right? Not like a anxious,
not a high
caffeine.
It's not like this weird thing that you can almost forget it. Yeah, it's like me and you just talking right now. Like you forget, and then we were locked in for like an hour. We were just talking to each other. What was that? Yeah, that was probably NAD. Just allowing you to keep going and find these new areas of conversation. And you're probably going to be a little more articulate as well.
Yeah, very, very much so. Way more articulate. And I can get a little bouncy ADHD. I would never kind of diagnose myself with that or anything else like that. But I can definitely bounce it around. And what it does is it brings those guardrails a little bit in. So I'm not kind of bound, more focused, I guess is the way I would describe it too as well. And it's sustained, and it's not like a hard on, hard off. It's like an airplane kind of taking off.
It's kind of
subtle, right? And then it stays there at 20, 30,000 feet, right? Yeah. And you cruise. And then you don't even realize when you're off it, because it just kind of like.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's not, we'll get into specific reasons or specific patients that we have that should and shouldn't do it. But you don't have that crash. Like a lot of people, don't encourage any energy drinks or sugar to achieve that level. But things like coffee. A lot of people, after drinking coffee for years and years, they got to keep going back. I'm not saying it's replacing it, but when I did first trial NAD, I was intentional about not drinking coffee. My diet was good. It was like before I started doing jiu-jitsu. And it was around when the girls were much, much younger and nights were, as you know.
Yeah. You were pinned.
Yeah. It was,
That's, yeah.
you had to be ready to go. It felt like a fireman. I didn't know when that bell was going to go off and I was going to go take that call. So, but Lindsay noticed it in me because I just get up and I'm like, all right, what do I got to do? Go get the baby. Like, and she's like, what is wrong with you? Like, you're good. Like, yeah, babe, what do you need?
Mm-hmm. And was it overnight?
It was overnight. I just like, this has to be the NAD. Where else am I feeling like my sleep was good, but my mental clarity that fast when I woke up. And again, we'll go back to the people that we could categorize as saying this could really help you or in your profession, like SWAT team. Anybody that's got to get up and have that mental clarity right there and then. It's not something to shy away from. It's something that you could.
I want to pull on that. What was your regimen? What were you doing?
Yeah. So I think when I first started, how I started, and we test things. It's maybe not how I would maybe have a patient do it, and cost prohibitive because it's kind of a pricier one on the supplement list, and having access to it like I could use it every day. I tell people 2 to 3 days a week you can inject 100 milligrams, or you can get an IV every 3 to 4 weeks. But I still don't think that the IV effects last as long as people out there say they do. So going back to your question, I'll come back. I was using it at least every other day, and there was probably a week or two in there that I was using it every day just to, all right, what's this doing? Do I need this? And need this meaning to exchange from the coffee. And it was great. I didn't have to go back to coffee. But I was losing weight. And I think I was losing weight also because of the concoction. It was like selenium was in there, B12. There's a lot of other vitamins. And I don't know what it was doing, maybe to my metabolism too. But I kind of slowed it down. And
Did
then
you not have an appetite on it?
It didn't. I don't know how much it really changed my appetite because during that time, things were really weird, right? The girls are so young. That's when you fall into some bad habits of your diet's not the best.
Yeah.
Your sleep's obviously not great. So like, what am I attributing to?
Sure.
It could be a lot of different things. So I'm uncertain about that. But the one thing I'm damn certain of, it made me get up and I could just be super dad. And nothing would bother me. You notice I'm already, you know me, I take a lot. And then mood wise, you probably would never know, even if I was a little down or something. I'm a pretty happy guy, positive dude. But when I was on that, it was like I was impenetrable with the stress of, and everyone out there that has kids, you know what that's like. You know how much you're more fragile to even conversation with your wife or friends or people at work. You're less of yourself. You don't have as much control. Your brain is barely working, So that's why it made such an impact. And like the first thing when we started selling in the clinic, I was using those examples, and it was very vivid to me then. It was more of a powerful story, and maybe I articulated it different then. But yeah, that's how I remembered it. I was doing it so much, and then as I noticed some of the weight loss, again, I think it was attributed to the compounded pharmacy that was making it, and they had a bunch of other vitamins in there, and maybe some other things were sending me down a metabolism path. But as I backed it off, went to 2 to 3 days a week. It was awesome. Everyone around me, even people in the clinic, were like noticing, like, "Oh, you really like this stuff, huh?" And it's not like a weird buzzy high. You're very like, okay, all right, let's go. And like you kind of alluded to, you're like how the day works is just very subtle, and you don't know it's there, but it's there because you look back at your functioning and you're just cruising. And then things I would pick up, and for some people that know me, I still stay in contact with some friends, and we play video games at night. And so we were engaging in some of that, and it's like 1 in the morning, and I was just on. And not a buzzy, weird, caffeine thing. It was, my reaction times were better. And so I had this like measurement that maybe some people don't, they can't apply it, but I had this, and it wasn't even intentional. I just was doing it. And then I'm like, dude, I'm I'm doing better than I usually do on any other night. And that makes sense. Like by 1 in the morning after all, and you're dead, you're not going to be there. Your clarity's not there. Your cognition's not there. So I couldn't look away from the fact that yes, cognitive function was higher. Everything that I then went back and just read a bunch about, it's all legit. Does it fix everything? No. Is it a magic bullet? No. And we'll get into who it's for, who it's not for. Again, I keep saying that, but it definitely has its place. You know, I'm biased to it. This shit's awesome, but it doesn't replace the latte. I know I experimented with replacing coffee just to see how I could function. And you know me, I'm not a big coffee guy now anyways. I've kind of like gone away from it. Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yeah, thank you. And I couldn't agree more. I was surprised by, because you just mentioned maybe video games, or like I said, everyone has a little bit different measuring stick with how they recognize when when they're not firing. For me, with patients and complex problem solving, like I've noticed right away, things can come a lot quicker, but actually more so is on the business creative side of things.
Exactly. Your recall.
Yeah.
Your ability to put things together.
And see things that maybe otherwise would have taken a little bit longer for them to develop in my mind. When it comes to the intricacies of how the business actually works and how it's going in the future, and just being a lot more comfortable and not feeling the stress and anxiety of that, but more so welcoming it. That's where I really notice
I think that's the mood factor.
Yeah.
I don't think people talk about it enough, but it's the mood factor.
Mm-hmm.
It's changing your brain to be, I just know I'm happier on it for sure. You're more tolerant too. So, and then that goes back into the, like, you know, anyone dealing with sleepless nights or their toddler. I mean, you need to be more resilient. You lose those layers of protection. And the last thing you want to do is, you know, snap on your spouse or just because the kid's crying, it's your first child. Not their fault, and they're just communicating. They're crying. That's the only way they can communicate, and
it just gives you more capacity, right?
Totally,
just
that's a good word.
Capacity,
good capacity for more or for whatever else that you're set out for.
Especially
now, I got that racing simulator. I love taking laps on NAD.
What about, this comes up a lot? What about in the fitness world?
So. Really good question. I get this all the time.
Yeah.
I've tried it. I haven't really looked for
the majority of our patients, right? They're optimizing, but they're also mentally, emotionally, like they're
looking for the edge.
They're high achievers, right?
Yeah.
But also physically too. And so that comes up a little bit.
I personally have not been able to find any kind of fitness or exercise benefit. Maybe I'm going to look for it now. Maybe if it draws out the cloudiness for you to achieve the workout you were set out for, maybe it helps in that regard, but no, it's not going to help you on the anabolic phase. It's not going to help you cardiovascularly. It's a nutrition side. It's, you know, backing it up when we go to the mitochondria. So it's enhancing your mitochondrial function. And for everyone out there that was not a science major, and you don't know that mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, just think
ATP.
And producing ATP. So it's funny, like a lot of people know about creatine and how that generates more energy for the cell and into the muscle, and it enhances ATP. It's why you're able to get, you know, maybe a couple more sets because you're building more better active myosin. But for NAD, again, for those who are not the science major and talking about mitochondria, you have a powerhouse of all your cells. It's like a little battery, okay? And in the second half of your life, I can't remember the literature. Again, this is a couch conversation. I don't have information in front of me, but I want to say it's like 40 or 50%, and everyone's different. Like your function is dropping with NAD.
I actually had that written down here. So it declines by 50% between the age of 40.
By the age of 40.
40
okay, so that's fair to say half your life. So for the young ones out there, we're already excluding most of that group, right? Unless there's something special going on. I'm going to throw in long COVID, some illnesses,
chronic inflammation,
things that, you know, we can talk about, drug dependence and rehab and how it weighs in there. We can go back to that. The powerhouse of the cell, the battery. Think about those little batteries, and they're no longer full of that energy. Therefore, it can't allow the cell to do its normal process as efficient. Okay. Well, we can charge that battery up, and that cell can then perform again. So people should look at their bodies. It's like these iPhones that we buy. And after a while, you charge them up, And after a while, they don't hold the same amount of charge. That's your body. Your body's aging, so therefore the NAD amount that's stored is going to go down, and that's normal. It's normal for everybody. That's why we're talking about should you or should you not supplement with NAD. Like, well, try it. It's going to boost those levels. Cellular function is going to go up. You should expect that, and that's why it's happening.
And on that, I don't mean to interrupt, but and we could talk about my experience with the high dose IV infusion.
I love to.
But so I did it, obviously, and
because say the protocol, because that's a.
So we did 750 milligrams. We actually honestly didn't complete it because we went on vacation to other things. But
you still got 4 of the 5.
Yeah. So 750 5 times in 10 days, right? And then kind of once a month after that, and that's stripped over a 250 milliliter bag, so over about an hour and a half is what we ended up.
It was a liter bag, though, wasn't it? Was it
No.
It was 500.
Had
to be at least
250, I think.
No way.
Yeah, a small bag.
It's a small bag.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why you guys were hurting.
It was. Oh my gosh,
wow.
Brennan was like,
yeah. Oh, I love the stories.
Yeah. Anxiety.
This is for those of you out there. If you know anyone that's done NAD, it's not comfortable. But if you're gonna go together with some friends, maybe and coach each other, it's not gonna be comfortable.
You need accountability. Yeah, because even Brendan said this: if he wasn't in and around all of us doing it, he would have pulled the IV. Like it's that uncomfortable. And we had the stopper so you can control obviously the speed at which it kind of goes through. And what I would tell you from an experience standpoint is I felt like I could feel every injury that I've ever had in my entire life come back to me, right?
That's wild.
Including chest pain, difficulty breathing. I felt like my heart rate was coming up. Every joint in my body was like sore, but it was mainly just deep in that diaphragm.
Yeah.
Almost like
crampy pain.
It's
kind of a known thing. You get a crampy sensation.
But it cycles, right? It's like you breathe through it.
Yeah. You're having contractions.
Yeah. And then you're good. And then you breathe through it. And you're like, I can tolerate this more. And you open it up a little bit. Like, no, bad idea. Bad idea. Yeah. And
you're figuring it out though.
Yeah.
You have to live, you have to know too. And then it's better your story is better for the patients.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why I want to do one for my own experience and optimization journey, but also to be able to really understand when I'm talking with patients, especially if we are doing those IVs, like how they're going to feel on it. And this is normal, as we know, we've experienced, like this is normal, right? You're going to feel this and you have control of it, obviously, as well. Yeah. But kind of what you were saying on that age thing, and we were talking about a little bit earlier, is the decline at 50%, getting into 40, 60, is that Brendan and the rest of the group didn't notice the differences the same way that I did, afterwards. And that's super telling, right?
They had a new iPhone.
26,
it was charged and it held its charge all day long.
Right. And so it was like, I just went through that for this, I didn't really feel, which is important because that's the question, who is this for? And that's what I recognized. And I knew that kind of beforehand, but definitely it was palpable then. I was like, oh, I felt significantly better that next day. And we were even texting and talking about it. And I was taking notes and journaling about all the things I'm feeling. And he's like, meh. I don't know. I don't know if this really did anything for me. And so,
and then Brecka as well.
Same thing.
Younger. So the 20-year-olds, not much to report there. Maybe a little charged up the night and maybe afterwards because it gets you going.
Yeah, I slept okay. I think they had a little bit of difficulty sleeping. I know patients after that first day with the IV.
They get cold and shivery.
Yeah, exactly. But it was, I'd say when I did it, I'd still recovering from the head injury and all that that we talked about in the past. And physically, I haven't really been back to the version of myself that I was before with regular working out, getting in the water. And so I was already feeling like crap. And so it was the first time, I think I texted you this, the first time that I had a glimpse into my normal self again.
Yeah, I remember that text. I'm trying to recall exactly what you said, but you're like, this feels like if I can just feel like this and go back to normal.
Yeah.
That's what it felt. It felt like normal.
It felt like I was back to my normal self.
When you were like optimized, meaning all your regimen
when everything was
normal.
Good.
Yeah.
And so,
which is wild, right?
Yeah.
It pulled you out of like a deep, you weren't like saying a deep fog, but it was a fog that you couldn't just, push out of the way.
Well, I think, yes, my injury and the different things, but I'm sure I can speak to a lot of people who feel the same thing, is that like, as life, we just keep taking on. I like to think about the analogy of a tire going through mud. Like we keep taking it on, and a lot of times we do have capacity, and we continue to plow forward, and we prioritize that which is important to us, our family, our kids, and you just keep going. And when you actually stop and actually take stock and inventory and where you are, you realize you've come so far from what it means to be healthy and optimize is that you forget what it feels like, because it's not overnight. It slowly happens over time. And then all of a sudden, you're not optimized at all.
Like, how'd I get here?
Yeah, exactly. How did I get here? Because you feel like you're okay and you're able to get everything done. Then all of a sudden, things get harder. Conversations get harder. Words don't come as clean. You know, arguments, fights, you know, like you're less patient with your kids. All that stuff starts to kind of add up. And then you're like, oh, man.
And then it's harder to make the change.
That's
the longer the longer that you let yourself go.
Yes.
It's harder to turn that.
It's
wheel
harder
back
to make
around.
that shift. Yeah. And then injury and recovery. And then,
and
then excuses come easier. Right. And
start talking yourself into whatever
that's right.
your brain wants to hear.
That's right. Yeah. So what that did for me was just bring you, okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's where I was. Now how to stay there.
Right. Probably made you feel good just to know this wasn't so serious. I'm not like this. I know we have a medical background, so you knew that the A's and things would pass, but still you're a human being with all the medical knowledge you have. You still probably got that feeling of like, oh, good. Yeah. I will be back here, you know, with my headspace and how I feel and just the day to day. I just needed a little, you know, this to remind myself of that.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. It was like, yes, it was a huge, like there was a moment where I was like, oh, there was hope. Yes, absolutely. I can get here for sure. So I'm a huge fan. And so, yeah, I even bring that up just because I know I'm not the only one in that space. And I think anyone listening to this, I guess our goal of this is to just kind of highlight a little bit more of the clinical applications of it. Where does this exist? And then like, how is it reasonably done? Right. How do you go about getting it? Right. How do you go about talking about it? Who do you seek out? Who's the person that it's for? Really?
Right. So we talked about the nucleotide riboside and NMN, and people can do their own research on that. They're precursors to NAD, so you do need it in your system for a bit, and then for that to convert over. And if you feel great on that, sweet. I mean, it is part of the process. You are yielding more NAD, and so if that works for you, awesome. So that's off the shelf. I'm trying to think of the company. I think it's True Niagen. We use it for some of our prior to like stem cell therapy. We'll do some True Niagen. I think that's the brand of the company that makes it. So that's the biggest one that I know that people that do take it that swear by it. That's one. That's the go-to there. IV. Any of these IV therapy bars, IV spot, whatever, they're gonna have it. It's probably about $1 a milligram, and you want to do. I suggest to everybody, don't torture yourself like Masi did. You are tough. I know you're tough, especially after that.
That was silly.
So 500 milligrams, you won't probably have a choice on it when it's your first time coming in. They'll give you a little bit about maybe some of what we've talked about here today. And so you'll hear some of that on repeat of just things that you potentially are going to feel, go through. It's normal. How long it's going to take. It's probably going to take, could take a couple hours to run. So yeah, it's going to be about 500 milligrams, maybe cost you $500-$600. And yeah, it's going to bring a laptop with Netflix or do something. So your mind's on that. It's funny saying that now. I think I remember maybe it was years ago, like Joe Rogan was talking about it. And he was like, it's so uncomfortable. Bring a movie. You want to,
distract
yourself.
And
so it's true. So that's the IV. You can go, typically how I do it with folks is you're going to do 500. And then based on that, I'll deem whether you should go to 750 or just stick at 500. And then we kind of take a history there. And then whether they're naive to it before doing it with them. So that'll kind of get them in a category. Oh yeah, I've done this before. How many times? And then I'll kind of put them in a slot where it's 500, 750. 1,000, it's like rare that I have someone doing 1,000 milligrams.
I haven't ever heard of that.
It's pretty, there's people that do it. And then I hear somebody be like, oh yeah, I do 1,000 milligrams. And I just don't, I've done it myself. It's tough. Yeah. It's really tough. I'm just me. And then
how long did it take you to run that?
Like greater than 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
It was like close to 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I want to be comfortable. I don't want to be like the whole time I'm sitting like, I don't want to be uncomfortable. I don't think that's how it should be. You are going to still feel things you don't want to feel. So that's the inevitable. So that's IV. So yeah, so 500, 750 to 1,000. That's going to be kind of how the tier system will be. Again, $1 a milligram. So you're probably looking at $500 to $1,000 an IV.
How often?
So everyone out there is saying like, oh, you do once a month and it's going to last you.
You're skeptical.
Yeah. You can hear it. And I said it a little bit earlier. I've done that. And I think maybe the reason why I land on that thought is it's not good enough for 4 weeks. 2 reasons. One, I think it's a marketing thing. And then they can get people back in there and they say, oh yeah, it lasts a month. I think the other reason why I'm a hater on that protocol is when I do injections, how good I feel with the injections comparatively to the IV. I feel like I can just get more and it's more consistent. And I notice after like 2 weeks after the IV, I'm already noticing it's not there like it once was. And it's hard to find. Like, again, these are very subtle. It's not a on or off. I wake up, I know it's there. It's not there. It's like when certain situations are happening and I can tell based on how my brain is processing something or how I'm handling a particular situation. So if it's, if it's employees or if it's, me and Lindsay talking about something or if it's, the kids, like I have to have a specific situation occur for me to look back and be like, maybe I did have that feeling or maybe I didn't. So that's my take on, I don't think it lasts long enough. Therefore, and I'm not talking people out of it. I encourage everyone to try it, but maybe it's not worth the squeeze at $1,000 a pop. I would feel like I would have to do it twice a month. So now we're looking at like almost $1,500 to $2,000 to do IV therapy. So we talked about this and I was like, you're going to arrive. I wanted you to have your journey and seek it out however you will.
You prefaced
and not bias you. Right. Yeah. And so, but I did say, hey, you're going to find out kind of the road that I found too. With our lifestyles, it's very hard to sit there. And again, you're wild, dude. Masi sucked his bag down and like someone told me like an hour and 10 minutes or something like that. Like I'd be on the floor. You would have to like put me out. I'd just be under anesthesia to suck it down in an hour. Dude.
I was good. I didn't think I was powering through and I think I was fine until about a half hour or 40 minutes
people
after
were saying you were in a
finished.
fetal position.
Dude, after that, it was the shiver. Like I got, no, I went straight home and went to bed. Like it was very uncomfortable. So actually during the drip, I was able to, titrate it pretty good.
Yeah.
I did well with control it, but it was afterwards. It was a 30, 45 minutes afterwards.
Once you get to the very end of that bag.
Because it's concentrated too. And that was also part of me that I didn't mix it up enough. And
you can't run from it.
Yeah.
It's like, this is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And you're going to sit here.
Come to Jesus
and
moments.
There's literally nothing you can do. And so your brain's going through that thought like, I hate this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Right.
But if you keep telling yourself that, it's going to be a bad day.
Yeah. You just have to breathe through it.
Yeah. Breathe. Mm-hmm. Like I said, bring something to get your mind off it if you can. And then
we're totally selling it right now.
Yeah, I know. This is real talk. You said couch conversation.
I love
couch,
it. That's
baby.
why we're doing it. That's why we're doing it.
It's
just real world stuff, man. We can talk about stuff all day long. Yeah. The science of it, but like,
we don't need to make money off NAD. It's out there as a resource. We have it, and we're going to tell you where it may or may not fit in. That's all. And then take it for what you will. You can.
I love that. But what you were getting at is,
I don't care.
What you were getting exactly right as far as how I originally saw it being part of my regimen and how I think it's going to be moving forward.
And we talked earlier before recording, like you were like, hey, who's the biggest, the avatar for you in NAD? And like the higher end or the high exec or someone who's a business leader, for them, do they have 3 hours to sit? Again, maybe if they want to work on some stuff, and some of them do, but all of them, and
I'll tell you, it's hard to concentrate on. Like, I don't know that you can get anything done.
You can't
while you're on it, because it takes everything for you to just.
Yeah. I mean, I should maybe after we get through it, I'll share my experience I had the other day when I came into the OR late.
Yeah.
You remember?
Oh yeah. Dude, I think you should. I think that'd be awesome.
I will. All right, we'll get through it. But so the point is. What were we saying? We were saying about the time.
The time, yeah.
So it's too much time. Yeah. So that's where you and I ended up.
And you could do an IV every once in a while, but it's the benefits, like you were saying, are they going to be the intramuscular injections?
Here's my picture for why I personally, and it doesn't mean anything to anybody out there, but maybe some of you, I would get an IV if you and I are we're going to go take a trip and we're going to do some sort of business deal. We're going to consult for somebody, whatever it is. And I just want to make sure that no matter what's going on around me, that my brain is locked in at 100%. Mm-hmm. So there you go. You can connect that to the CEO. You can connect that to the executive on why they would take it, because they can't afford to slip. They can't afford to not be that 100 during that meeting. And so you're safeguarding. It's like a safety net for high function. It's not for the basic, put my clothes on, what outfit. No. This is for all engines firing, Formula One car. We're not making any mistakes around the track. I need precision. And that's, I think people can pull away from that. So that's when I would get myself into the IV. Outside that, it's PRN, or it's an as needed 2 to 3 times a week. I'd probably maybe once or twice a week. And then something like sometimes I'm not taking it at all, but I have it in the freezer.
Well, let's talk about
I give it to Lindsay.
I think it's because it's helpful for others. Let's talk about your week, like Mondays and Tuesdays, right? So I think that's important.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Give me some direction here.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it'll help. And as far as, because those are the questions I even have myself, and I know patients have, like, we know it's good. We know it's great. It's not sustainable every single day from a financial standpoint, right? As well as, like, who loves to inject themselves every day, right? I mean, I do, but
yeah, I do. Me.
But like, what are different, throughout the week? What are different, examples of that? And I'll let you tell your own story, but you're pretty top heavy in your week with regards to needing beyond, and you provide an insane amount of value in very critical aspects of already critical cases on, in the OR with surgeons, myself.
Emotionally, it drains you.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Your cognitive gets beat.
Mm-hmm. Because you drop in so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're forced to think. I mean, you're forced to.
Yeah.
And it's stuff we do all the time. I mean, I still think you could get me up at 2 a.m. and say, hey, JD, we need to do a multi-ligament, or we need to do something. I will be able to do that because I've trained so hard to do, just like Navy SEALs or anyone else. That's that training.
You can turn it on.
I can turn it on anytime.
Turn it on. But the cost of that afterwards, in the wake of that.
There you go. I like that you said that, cost.
And that's what I even noticed in myself, and throughout years and years, of course, of this is April knows what days are OR days for me. And I mean, obviously she knows, but you know what I mean? When I come home, despite how easy or hard the cases are, how many we have, it's such a suck. It's such a just energy drain, and just the cost of locking in. I'm just physically exhausted. And my point is that you have 2 days in a row at the beginning of the week that are
not to like make myself sound cool. This is not cool. There's plenty of people that have much harder jobs or mentally demanding. But when it was 5 days a week or 6 days a week, I thought it was funny, and I kind of laughed at you guys when I would hear from the wife or whoever, and you're like, oh, that's his OR day. We got to be nice to him the night before. And like stuff like that. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, you guys are pussy. Like, I do this every day. But then it's funny because, I got older, but maybe when I wasn't doing it every single day, I don't know if I got weaker. I don't know. But I felt it change me. When I went down to 2 days, when there's a 12 or 14 hour day, I feel like a wave crashes over me. And the next day I'm a little like, I can function again. I can go in there and I can do my stuff, but I am, like, I don't know how to describe it. How do you describe it? If you were to have that long of a day and the next day you can go see patients, you can do your day, but you're just not.
Oh, a zombie?
You're a zombie. I guess I should have just said zombie. That's how you feel.
Like, I feel like a shell of myself.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So, and to answer your question. So
you just go through the motions, right?
Right. So Mondays, usually pretty long, 2 ORs. I mean, just run as many cases that we have, we do. And then, so I'm just running around doing that. And then Tuesday we get up and we do it again. So sometimes if that Monday beats me up pretty good, then daddy takes a little injection and I
you're
feel
right
great.
Back on. Yeah.
Whether I'm
that's the point.
yakking out in the front or I.
Well, you got to tell that story.
Right,
I love that story.
So it's kind of how I just laid it out, where it was probably a pretty tough day on Monday. And then I'm like, all right, I got to get charged up for Masi. It's Masi. I love my guy. I got to always be there. And it's also fun, too, to be able to share those conversations. We have such great conversations with patients in pre-op and learning their story and meeting the family. And so when I have an opportunity to do that, and especially on days we don't have as many patients, I know I'm going to be doing that. And so I made the executive decision to take an injection before. We're trying to get the girls ready, and I need to take Gary out to go pee, and he's itching, right? So I take my injection, and just for everyone, no, this is useful information. Give yourself some time after you inject to just relax for a second.
Have some recovery
Especially if it's
time
IM.
built in
Yeah,
there.
like sub-Q,
Yeah.
so real specific. You do it sub-Q into the fat and, near your belly button. It's going to be a little bit slower release because of the vasculature there. And if you do it in the muscle, it's going to be delivered much quicker. IV is the fastest, right? So I do my injection, walk outside with Gary, our golden doodle. And I'm like, all right, dude, this is going to kick in soon. So I need you to like do your stuff. Right?
Yeah, let's
do
go.
your business. And so he pees and then I'm just sitting there and then I'm like, man, feeling a little nauseous. Like I don't mean to
laugh.
No, please do. That's why I share it with the whole OR. Like nothing embarrasses me. So I'm sitting there and then I start putting my hands on my knees and I'm starting to picture myself like people are probably driving by like,
I think that's why
is this guy
I
cool?
laugh because I can
Is this guy good? But of course, here we are, and I got, dude, I have to talk some smack about where we live.
Oh my God,
Northern California, you guys suck, and I'm a part of it. But I just thought like anywhere else I was, someone would have like pulled over, like, hey, dude, you good?
Yeah, exactly.
You're good, right? Like your dog's there, and you're on your knee. Like, what? Did you have a rough night? Like, I took myself like as if I was a college kid.
Yeah,
and I'm just hands on my knees, leaning over like I'm about to just yak. So I kind of collect myself. I'm like, dude,
neighbors are hiding their kids.
Yeah,
they're like,
they're like,
kids getting the kids,
he's fine.
get in the house.
Just don't
kids.
look at him. Just don't look at him. Maybe he's on fentanyl. So I walk back and I don't think I can make it in the house. So I start hovering over a bush. Lindsay somehow opens the door and was like, hey, you good? What are you doing? I'm like, I think I got a yak. She's like, well, get your ass inside and go to the bathroom. So I get in there and
scared the neighbors.
Sure enough, I like dry heave. I didn't even eat anything at that point. I was like dry heave and maybe some bile came out. But it was like, I'm sitting on the ground. I'm like, dude, get your ass up. You need to go. Like, stop being a puss. Like, let's go. And it was funny because the one part of the story that I left out was after I did my injection, I gave one to Lindsay and she's walking around the house holding her stomach.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you good?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, I know. It'll pass. And then that's when I make my way out the door. So the point of all this story is it's real. Give yourself a little grace.
Yes.
You're not weak.
Yeah.
It happens to.
And you're a veteran NAD connoisseur.
Dude, I love this stuff. But anyway, so it can have an effect on you.
The things we do in the medical field are husband and wives. I like to call it, NAD foreplay.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, you came in. You were recovered though by the time you came in.
I felt great. That was probably one of the best days I felt because I think that day.
That's hilarious, man.
Don't do this out there.
Yeah.
I think I did like 200 milligrams. It was a bottle that was.
That was my question. What do you think that was different than? Yeah. You've always felt it, but you've never had that experience.
Yeah, that's why I was like, hey, gotta let everyone know.
Yeah. But also, you said sometimes
it
can be in the vasculature or close to the vasculature.
I think it's the state in which you're in, and then
the speed at which it gets into
know. It's shot placement. You're gonna have. We can't see through our skin and muscle to see where all the capillary system and what's a denser area than the other. You won't know that until you inject it. But I
love it.
That was wild.
Where else do you see it? So obviously a big part of our world is injury and recovery. And part of the injury and recovery sometimes is surgery or procedures. Do you see a role for it in recovering from a procedure, injury, that sort of
that's
thing?
An awesome question because, excuse me, I was trying to.
I know we hadn't talked about that before.
That's great because in the beginning of this, I was trying to, I try to come up with protocols that when someone's reaching for, a better outcome or they're trying to just maximize, and we talked about optimizing in our last podcast, I want to put things together that actually make sense and it's going to make a difference during that phase of time. And I was trying to figure out, is NAD, does it have its place here? And the only time that I thought it was somewhat useful was when people were getting down about after like maybe week 1 and they, they had tremendous pain and they kind of had this almost like a mild depressive state. And there's many reasons for that, but we did give it to a couple, there's a couple gals that I remember and they reported back like, hey, thank you so much. Whatever that was, and we told them it was NAD, but whatever that was, it did amazing things for me. I like felt myself again.
An injection or an IV?
No, we did an IV.
Yeah.
And I ran it a little bit. I think I did probably like 300 to 500 milligrams. I ran it really slow because
Because you have to be careful to have someone who's dealing with post-career recovery, and then all of a sudden you throw that on
yeah,
top
I'm
of
not
them.
trying to
It's
just
like
crush them. Yeah,
compound it.
So
right?
yeah, no, very good. So I was like 300 to 500 milligrams. It was low, and I was in a big bag, and I wanted to support them also on a hydration standpoint. I could tell they're dehydrated. This is the thing when people start getting into a bad setback and they have surgery, and you can tell, you can just see it in their eyes. They're not taking care of themselves. You look over the family members, they're like, they won't let us help. At that time, I usually try to give them some fluids, maybe some vitamins, and some other things that can just potentially make a tiny, tiny difference, at least to refuel the fluid component inside their body. They need to have water. They're not drinking, they're not doing stuff, they're not eating.
They're on empty.
Mm-hmm. It's just like when we get sick. If you get sick, some of our natural, like we don't want to eat, we don't want to talk, we don't open our mouth. Like if there's all these things, but if you actually give your body still some of those nutrients, you're going to have a better way out of it. And when you starve yourself, you're just making those symptoms worse. Like next time you get sick, go get an IV. I don't care if you're sick as a dog. Just go get it.
Do something.
And put some good stuff in there, and then see what it's like afterwards. It's not going to it's not a miracle. You're not going to just feel better tomorrow, but you're going to feel better than the direction you were going, and you won't even experience some of that bad stuff. So how I describe to people, I know we're getting off here, but like when I'm sick and if I do vitamin regimens with IV, when you first start it, it's kind of weird because you feel good and you can function, but you also still kind of feel sick. It's almost that feeling where you feel like sickness is coming, but nothing happens.
You're like functional.
So yeah, you're functional, but yeah. So anyway, so that's that deal. But going back to your question, I've done it for a few people. It's not a common thing, but it does have its place. And if I see people maybe in the depressive state, I'm going for the mood side of things. I'm not
as opposed to the physical.
Yeah, I'm not trying. Yeah, exactly. And then I'm not trying to. They're not creating pitches for their company. I see them down, and then I've experienced by using it, it actually can flip that page and at least just give them a little bit of hope, because I think they're falling into a hole. And I think the NAD sometimes can just maybe pick them out of that hole for a second. It sometimes, it could work. Maybe sometimes it won't. But
and as you know, that translates to the recovery.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
They're not redlining.
Right?
They're not in. Yeah,
dude. Even just giving people fluids sometimes, they look different, and then when they come back and see you, they're like, "Thank you so much, what you did. I felt like such shit, and then I left, and I had such better days after that." So yeah, to answer your question, not the go-to. I tried to make a place for it in some sort of protocol. Didn't really find the one. So it's probably an as needed on my account if I feel it's potentially necessary and that they're willing to try it. And obviously, I educate them before on what we're doing, and then if they elect to do that, then we give it a chance.
Yeah. So obviously, I want to summarize, but before we do that, any myths out there? Anything that you hear about NAD that's like you did, and I don't know, I'm just kind of going off the cuff here. Like, do you develop a tolerance to it? Like, is it, are you addicted? Can you get addicted to it and rely on it? All that stuff, as well. Have you anything like that?
I think anyone can be addicted to anything. The way this conversation's gone, it probably would sound like I'm addicted to it because I love it so much. But I don't. I feel like if it was taken away in the world, all right. But because it's there, it's a tool that has its place. So to go through it really quickly, the exec needs that safety net. Maybe fireman, SWAT, somebody that's got to just get up and go. Not for exercise, so we covered that. I don't know if we do talk about drug dependency and someone going through a rehab.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's another one that's out there. They talk about it. I could see its place also because of mood, but they talk about cravings, and we're not talking about food cravings, but cravings to kind of go back to whatever someone's trying to get away from. And it has its place there in conjunction with.
You mentioned something like
therapy.
smoking. I thought it was a really good example of it may not
what we were taught
in
our education. So so that's a really good example. So I don't know what the numbers are today, but smoking cessation at the time when I was learning it, I think they said that it takes at least 7 legit attempts, not like, hey, a day later. No, like you seeked out intervention. You have a plan in the process to get over this, whatever the dependency is. 7 times to achieve that. if NAD helps along with that regimen, then maybe that 7 goes to 5. And I'm just using that as an example, you know. So it has its place there. It's not going to get someone off heroin or anything like that, but it could help in the process of someone dependency with alcohol, dependency with, I don't know, maybe it works with snacking too, but like alcohol, smoking, you know, if someone's trying to get away from other drugs or recreational things that are out there, it has its place. People talk about it. People write about it. It's not where I use it in clinic too much, but I have talked with families that have family members that have gone through stuff, and I've mentioned, hey, look this up, get educated on it. It could be another piece to that whole puzzle.
Right.
Not everything. I'm not trying to over glorify what NAD does, but that's a big one. I think one thing we didn't talk about that I've heard, because you're like, hey, is there any kind of thing out there? I think is the cancer one, right? And it's kind of like when we talk about peptides, like cancer can come up. So theoretically, there's something
because it ramps up energy ATP.
Yeah, but it's a nutrient side, right? It's not
on the hormonal side.
Right. So the literature is on both sides of that heavily, both sides. And so you can choose to, you know, approach that however you will, and there's plenty of information for you to read. But there's even people who, outside of cancer and remission or whatever, and let's use that as an example. They beat cancer. They're out of that phase. No more treatments, chemo, whatnot, and they're battling dependence somehow. Okay, would using it be scary? My opinion would be no. Why? Because you're not using it every single day, and you might use it for that block of time, and then we move on with our lives. So it does have its place, and then we've kind of, I think, somewhat cleanly outlined some of its places. And so in that one in particular, again, how I would go about it if you walked in and you are either going through or you just had, I would say consult your oncologist. But this is how I feel. I don't think this is going to be a big impact here if we're using it for how we're using it. Not every single day. This is not our daily vitamin.
It comes down to risk benefit.
Yeah. And that's where I sit with it.
Yeah.
So,
very cool.
It's cool stuff.
Yeah. No, I love it.
It's
I appreciate your experience with it, and I think you've definitely. I know April has been on it for a little bit, at least wanted to, and I've done the oral stuff for a long time. But I will tell you, if anyone hasn't tried it and they're doing the NMNs and NAD kind of orals, you're in for a treat for sure.
Yeah, give it a whirl.
Give it a whirl. Yeah.
And maybe not just once. Do it a few times.
Mm-hmm.
If it's injections, you know, buy 10 injections worth or something like that, and then put it to work and test it. Don't just do it just to do it, but have some intention behind the plan of why you're using it.
Take notes. I love that with a lot of the consults and patients you talk about journaling a lot.
Journaling, yeah.
That's huge.
Because our brains, we're so, like, we can talk ourselves in and out of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, and you've sat next to me for some of these calls, is, how's your diet? Yeah, everyone, that was pretty good. Isn't it funny how everyone says the same thing? And then you start going, you're like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm this.
Well, what's good about it?
Yeah, how's your gut health? Pretty normal. And then the conversation goes on, actually, you know what?
That's right.
I think I have it. And you're like, all right, well, that's why we're talking.
That's exactly right.
So, yeah.
Man. Well, thank you.
Good topic.
Appreciate it. Is there anything else you want to cover on it? It sounds like we got it.
I'm exhausted. NAD.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. Get on it.
I think we got everything out there.
Killer.
Do you have any recommendation, like a specific, if someone wants to try, right? Like,
yeah. Call us. No. Yeah. Any of your local, IV bars or any kind of functional medicine doctor may be able to get it for you, or like a concierge medical doctor or naturopath. I don't know. They all should have access to it through compounding pharmacies.
So you give them free pre-filled syringes?
I'll do syringes. Well? Yeah, I do that. It's easy.
Yeah.
And then what we do is put them on ice pack or whatever, and then they just keep them in the freezer, and then pull them out when you're ready to do it. Hold it in your hand for a few minutes.
Warm it up a little bit,
and then hit it.
Killer.
Yeah.
Get your NAD today.
Yeah. Try it out. There might be a whole new world behind that veil that you've been sitting behind. I love it. I don't know.
Turn the lights on, baby.
Yeah. Try it.
Sweet, man. Well, thanks for coming out. Appreciate you.
Yeah, it was fun.
More like conversations like this to come, and yeah, just grateful for your knowledge and being able to share it with the rest of us.
It's fun. Let's do it again.
Let's go.